Good everyone and welcome to this video. Today we have a premium review on the P-40C as part of the US tech tree. So before I begin, in the description below you're going to notice a couple of timestamps. There will be one for the hangar section overview, which will pretty much cover basic things about the plane. And then of course you can just skip straight ahead to the gameplay if you wish, where it does get a bit hectic, I will warn you. So yeah. So let's talk about this plane's price first of all, because obviously this is a marketplace premium. At the moment of the time of this recording, it is around about 19.50 Gaijin coin, which give or take is about $20. Which, it's not bad for a rank 2, 2.3, relatively uncommon premium. But is it worth $20? Let's get into it. So I'm going to start off, as per usual, with just describing how the plane feels and everything. This plane is something where it kind of relies on being in its own BR. The problem is that with it being an earlier P40 than what we're used to, as in the E and the F, it does have a couple of things that do hold it back. As you'll notice, the nose section is a little bit different to what you might expect. We have an intake up here, we have the 250 cals which are up here as well, and its overall aerodynamic efficiency is quite a bit lower, and that can hold it back in terms of its overall performance. But that's where we get into the overview of this aircraft and its abilities and everything. So I'll start off with the engine. We have the Allison V1710-33 inline water-cooled engine with 860 horsepower on 100% and 1040 on WEP. Now, I don't need to tell you how poor an Allison is above 4K, so I won't. But let's just say the moment you get this thing above around about 3K, the power drops off significantly. And even then, at lower altitudes, the 1000 horsepower sometimes just isn't enough. In a down tier, it's perfectly acceptable, because you're probably going to be one of the more better performing planes on the block at that point. But the problem is, every time I take this plane out, I don't get 1.3 down tiers. I mostly get 2.7, 3.0, and, well, yeah, as you can expect, 3.3 matches. Where this plane's performance does start to struggle quite significantly, especially when you're running into vehicles like the BF-109F and obviously the E's. You're also looking at Yak-1Bs as well at around the 3.0 region, which completely curb stomped this thing. Yeah, it's not lacking in terms of overall firepower though, but the firepower can be it's a little bit out, like it's a little bit, as I said on the P-36G, the Shuju Talisman episode for that. This firepower, whilst it is good, it is starting to show its age because of the increase in more armoured planes and obviously the severe damage mechanic and everything. It can hold this plane back a little bit. But even so, 250 cals with 235 rounds each, and of course you get 4 7.62s. 2 of them have 500 rounds, 2 of them have 480 rounds. You're not really going to notice the difference between 450 or 30 cals firing and 230 cals firing, because they'll only be firing for like a split second anyway. But like I said, this armament is starting to show its age, at least in my opinion. It is acceptable for 1.3 down tiers, but as I said, I've not had a single one in this plane, so I can't tell you whether it's good or not for that sort of situation. I don't even get them in the Chinese H-81, which is pretty much this, just a little bit slower. And that's literally that. In terms of armor, though, this thing is much better than what I was expecting, to be honest. It has 8mm of rear protection for the pilot, 9.5 in the front, and 38mm of bulletproof glass, which protects to around about 16mm of protection, roughly. It's not the greatest, but you'll be fighting a lot of low caliber guns to begin with anyway. The high caliber guns will either butcher your engine or butcher your pilot, so there's no in between. This armor can sometimes save you though, and it is quite acceptable. In terms of recommended belts, and obviously we're going to talk about the singular other thing that it does have going for it, I would recommend ground targets on 12.7. You're not really getting any API, unfortunately. You do get an incendiary round in the universal belt, but I found the universal belt to be quite sparky because of that. I'd rather have the extra armor piercing round every so often, and yeah, the tracer does function sort of like an incendiary round, but me personally, I would prefer to have the extra punch, like just having the extra armor piercing, especially when you're firing from the nose. In terms of the 7.62s, I would personally run stealth. If you're not comfortable with the 7.62s, I would run universal. The tracer belt and the default belt are never to be considered. They are terrible belts and should never be used in this aircraft. Either run the universal if you're not sure how to use the 30s, or run the stealth. Finally, we come to the singular other thing that this plane has, which I wanted to show in the gameplay, but unfortunately the game ended, which is the 500-pound bomb, which is mounted in the center line. This, of course, is a little bit less bomb load than the Tech Tree P-40E and the P-40F, but if you played the Chinese H-81, which is basically this thing, but as I said, there's a couple of changes, because obviously that's P-40B, this is a P-40C, it's nothing really where, like, the 500-pounder will do everything that you need it to, and anything that the 500-pounder, well, after you've dropped your 500-pounder, can't do, because you don't have an extra 2 100-pound bombs, the 50 cals can clean up quite comfortably. But that is the end of the hangar section overview. As I said, I don't think this plane is worth the $20, in my personal opinion. Obviously, if the price does go up, which I suspect it will, as people will be buying this plane, if you really want a low-tier P40 that isn't 2.7 and constantly gets into 3.7 matches, my personal suggestion is this. Go to the Chinese tech tree and pick yourself up a H-81A2. It is pretty much the exact same plane performance-wise. I think this is a little bit slower, but not by anything that you would really notice. And yeah, you get the exact same guns, the exact same bomb, the exact same engine, pretty much everything that you get. And you also get access to a pretty good lineup of around 2.7, 2.3 for China as well in Tank RB. And besides, the US itself has a much better cast potential aircraft around this BR anyway. And even then, the P-40E does get the extra bombs, but also its nose is more refined, it gets more horsepower, and it gets 650s in the wings, whereas this only gets 2 plus 430s. Unfortunately, as much as I love this plane, especially for the silver camo, I wouldn't recommend it, personally speaking. But anyway, I will leave you all to it for today. I'll hand you over to the gameplay now, where you'll see this plane in action and just how hectic it really got. And I'll see you all on the next one. Out of all the aircraft I could have run into whilst flying this thing, has to be a freaking Oscar. I really don't want to fight an Oscar in this thing. I'm going to have to force the head on to kill that son of a bugger, because, yeah, for those that don't know, this thing's not exactly have a high amount of performance. I've got his engine. That's what that severe damage would have been. That would have been his engine. So now my only hope of surviving against that thing is to run, because that's literally all I can do against it. I can't outturn it, I can't outrun it. Oh, outrun it. I can outrun it. I can't outturn it, I can't outroll it. I can't outclimb it. So yeah, bum rushing and hoping I get a crit is literally all I can do against that thing. And even then, it's a goddamn kite. Come here, teammate. Oh no, he's gone. I'll take it. I'm gonna have to run now. No, get those 50 cals away. They're very dangerous. More dangerous than mine. Here comes a Lancer. Need to deal with that. Ow! Problem is, I don't remember what's more maneuverable, him or me. I think it's him. And even then, he has more engine power. Oh no. Okay, you just made my job a shitload easier. Thank you. Oh, come on, the dog's after me. I'm not getting quacked today. Go on. Shut up. I can outrun you, but that's not much of an achievement. I don't want to get quacked. Where's my teammate? Oh no, he's going for my teammate. I have to help him. No man gets quacked behind. Although in this case, the poor sod's about to get quacked. What duck is that? Is that a Romanian one? Yeah, it is. Thank you. Oh god, Ryan Gosling's coming to get me. And I can't outrun that. Not at this moment in time. But we've managed to thin the herd to the point where our team is winning, so I think we're doing alright. That's the BK. I don't want to take a fucking head on with that. Oh! Oh, yeah, 1B, because, yeah, add more fuel to the frickin' fire. I don't care that someone got that kill. I'm claiming it as a maneuver kill. The MiG's damaged. I'm going to leave him. Let my teammates deal with him. We're pretty banged up ourselves. Surprised we're still alive. Whew. We got very lucky. Oh, and the one and I just rammed the MiG. That's not smart, is it? And the last guy's in a bomber, other than that Spitfire, so I'm going to go for some ground targets and hopefully give this poor plane a break. See, the problem is with this plane is whenever I take it out, I either get no kills, like 1, or I get 5+. There's no in between. It's a very good plane for that purpose. Like, if I want high kill games, I take this thing. The problem is that it's lacking in a few areas, which, well, I've covered that in the H-81's review in the past, which is basically the same thing. And, yeah. It's not exactly the thing that I want. I'd rather have a more consistent plane myself, but that's my taste. I like this plane, don't get me wrong, but it does fall short in some key areas, which does let it down a little bit. That Spitfire's gonna have a bad day in a minute. But I must say, like, this plane can do a lot of work, but at the same time, it needs to either A, be a down tier, or B, have a little bit of luck behind it. So let's take out what we can, and then we'll RTB, because the last guy's in a bomber. I'm just worried about this 190, because I know how trigger happy those can be. They'll shoot through, there's still a pillbox. I know that for a fact. See, point proven. Alright, I'm going to RTB. And hopefully, we can locate the last guy, which, given he was in my last match in the previous game, I know what plane he's in. He's in a Wellington. Never mind, he's just died. I don't think I'll have time to RTB, so let's quickly pitch up and see if we can use the last of our ammo. So we are running stealth, because that's the best belt for the 7.62. I think we got the bot's engine. But obviously we're out of bullets, so we can't finish the job. But we still get the severe damage penalty. Like, we still get the severe damage. But there we go. That is the enemy team defeated. And we even got Thunderer. 6+1, because obviously we didn't kill the SBD. But I will take that. That was a good run. We got very lucky though, so that is certainly something to consider. Whilst this plane is fun, and it can do some work, it's not as consistent as some of the premium options in the tree, unfortunately. And for the price, I would, if you really want an early P-40 like this, just get the H-81 in the Chinese, well, in the Chinese tree.